term itself is quite explanatory, I think. What is ars? What does ars stand for, and what does nova stand for? New art. Yes, new art. New art. And this is a term given by musicians, composers. It's quite remarkable that people who lived in the 14th century, they called their own art new art. New art. Probably something serious happened in music thinking, that suddenly composers viewed their own music, their own art, like something drastically new in comparison to the art of the 13th century. And we will come back to this, but before we do, let's just look what was going on and where. And the second question is where? Where? Last time I told you, today I told you that France was pretty much an avant-garde, any kind of innovations in music, but now not only France. So tell me, last time you mentioned that you traveled. You want to tell me where you traveled. And we will see, we will compare your traveling map with map of our snow centers. Where did you travel?
I went to Paris in France, and then I went down to Rome.
Okay, Paris. Just a second, let me make it bigger. Zoom. Yes, we will see. Good. Okay, you started in Paris, right? Paris. Can you see it for this is too bright? Right. Is it okay?
Yes.
Okay. So Paris, then you went to Rome. Here's Rome. Okay, where else?
We went to Sicily.
Sicily. So we're right there. Sicily. And what else? Where did you travel?
I lived in Belgium, and I was in Brussels,
Belgium.
and I went to Amsterdam,
Right here, Amsterdam.
and Paris as well.
And Paris as well. Osvaldo.
Oh, I was in Spain.
Yeah,
Well, it's kind of
in
close.
Spain. And you see that our cities come in the map of music history. In France, Paris, Spain, Avignon. England. Did we talk about England before? Not really. Very soon. We'll talk about England, London, Salzburg. In France, of course, Rome. But Bologna, Florence. In a way, Florence became like a cradle of Renaissance. And with 14th century is interesting. We'll talk about Renaissance tendencies in art, in literature, but music was still medieval. Music was a little bit late compared to literature, for example. And nothing in Spain yet, but soon we'll talk about Spain. Because something is very magnificent. Of course I'm wrong when I said nothing in Spain. It's not true. If you looked at Santiago de Compostela, if you are aware of manuscripts of Saint there, it's not true. Because Gregorian chant, it was quite pan with European. What does it mean, pan? Cross, yes, overwhelming, covering Europe. But now we are going to talk about significant composers and schools that are associated with this. My next question will be what? What was going on? So we figured out why Ars Nova, we figured out where, and we need to see what was going on. What was going on? Many different things. So first of all, the church was in crisis. And on page 82, let's read about the whole details. I will just tell you general things. Church was in crisis and people lost faith due to not very honest priests. And have you ever heard about indulgences? Indulgences. Okay, so indulgence. Imagine a murderer, a bandit, who killed people, and then he walks through a field and he sees a monk. And monk says, okay, I have indulgences. If you buy this indulgence from me, all your sins will be forgiven. Oh, great! He gives golden coins by indulgence, like paper, gold, indulgence. And okay, be free. And kill next 10 people, buy next indulgence, and you're fine again. And what did people supposed to think about it? To say they were disappointed, and to say much. Of course, this practice, this ridiculous practice, it made people angry. And besides this kind of crisis, it was also political crisis. You see, politically and theologically. And also the situation was aggravated by black plague that destroyed, killed 1/3 of the population of West Europe. And I have a couple videos for you. You probably will be surprised why I am playing it at all for you. Believe it or not, this innocent children's song is actually very scary. Listen to this.
This rhyme dates back to the Great Plague of London in 1665, the bubonic plague. The symptoms of this disease included a rosy red rash in the shape of a ring on the skin, as portrayed in the first line of the rhyme, ring-a-ring-a-rosy. Pockets and pouches were filled with sweet-smelling herbs, the pockets full of posies. These were carried due to the belief that the disease was spread by bad smells. Doctors or physicians visiting the sick would wear long dark robes to cover their clothes and macabre-looking masks that featured a long beak which was stuffed with herbs and bergamot oil. This gruesome mask was thought to give protection from the disease by confining the infection that was thought to be transmitted through the air. The English version of the rhyme replaces the term ashes ashes, which refers to the cremation of the dead bodies with a tissue, as violent sneezing was also a symptom of the disease. Victims of the plague would be sealed in their homes to await their death, hence the line, "We all fall down." Infected houses were indicated with a red cross painted on the door with the words, "God have mercy." Doors were locked and bolted from the outside so that no one could enter and no one could escape.
That's quite scary, right? Quite scary. And another problem, secularization. So first, I was talking about these big events to go on church crisis. The church crisis. Second, black plague. And what did people supposed to think of black plague? Well, we will die tomorrow anyway, so that's why we have all pleasures today. And it created just chaos. Okay, next, important, secularization. Secularization of culture. I would like to have a volunteer. And this is sonnet, an English translation by famous Italian poet. You probably know him like Renaissance poet. It's true that in literature, the 14th century Renaissance tendencies were very pronounced. In music, we came later. So let me show you. Francesco Petrarch, you see, he is dressed in early Renaissance clothes. He was one of the biggest composers, biggest poets, late Middle Ages, early Renaissance, and he had his beloved, whose wife of someone else. But I told you what was medieval view on a lady of the heart. Often she was not the wife, and she was supposed to. What made love even more romantic. She was not accessible, and she wrote like a source of inspiration. And before I let you go, actually, I told you where I was supposed to go. So at this point, at this intriguing point, I'm going to stop. Petrarch and his beloved Laura, probably you pronounce it like Laura, but in Italian, Laura. Yes, and next time I will start from this intriguing story, and I will find a volunteer who will read this sonnet, who will look at Laura, who will look at Petrarch, and then we will talk about literature at this point, about art, and then we will talk about music of Ars Nova isolation and isolation motif. Let's talk about these things that we discussed yesterday. So the question is, what did we discuss yesterday? What was the name of this new Ars Nova? Ars Nova. Ars Nova. Ars Nova. And the question is when? What century is associated with Ars Nova? Okay, so 14th century. 14th century. And where? Where? So which countries, which lands we discussed? Which country was an avant-garde of all these innovations? France. France. Okay, what else? If we look at the map, yeah, Florence is in what country? Italy. Okay, this map. This map. Last time I showed you a colored map. Florence, I told you it was a cradle of Renaissance because one of early Renaissance painters, Giotto di Bondone, he lived in Florence. So France, Italy. And how often do we talk about England?